done. But in terms of it being, again, I'll use the word surplus, it doesn't kind of fall into that situation because it has had some purpose. It's had some storage facility for heavy equipment and also for green waste. So I just found the logic was more of it's a little bit more subjective versus to have it fit into that surplus land type of surplus land definition.
Well, it's again,
I will also ask on.
It's a legal term, Lisa. It's not a term I like or you like, but it's a legal term that we have to use in order to see something move forward on that land. I don't like the word either. I don't like the idea of it being called surplus. It sounds like throwaway or something like that, which it's not. It has a tremendous amount of value being a corner lot, as Mandy pointed out, and its desirability. So I don't like the word either. However, let's not get hung up on that because that's not our word. It's not my word. It's not Mandy's word. It's not your word. It's the state's word to be used so that entities like the city of Blue Lake can move forward and do something with this piece of property.
Yeah, it's so y'all can do something with it. I'm not, the word is the fact that, I mean, that's the legal term of it, and for better or worse, I just not sure that it falls into that definition of surplus. But and on that topic, you mentioned that this was Danco already is looking at another property for the regional to meet the regional housing needs allocation. So this is also another piece of property that's going to be in addition to that, because I thought the Danco was looking at what was being asked of us in that regional housing needs allocation. Is this some further housing development option for this corporate yard area?
It has the option of that. However, the city right now is not looking at, or nor do we have any plans at all from anyone, Danco or other, to develop this piece of property. What we're doing now is making it available for some development. Whether it becomes housing, that's not our desire at this moment for that particular piece of property. We're looking at this actually down the line as being more of a retail commercial area, like a fish and tackle or bait shop and a little market or something like that. But because the state is coming down with this word surplus and this hoop that we need to jump through, this is where we're at.
Okay, I will argue, and hopefully the letter that was signed by about 14 people will come up sometime in this meeting tonight in regards to the types of developments and things that are going down there. You can say we. I don't know who you're talking about necessarily. So please be mindful of that. And that's going to come up again. I sent my letter to the council, so not mine, 14 and myself. So I just was because I'm very aware of the need for housing. I've researched that a lot and talked to HCOG and everybody about the minimum requirements and the things when Mandy, you said, I believe that this could possibly be housing too. I was going, oh, so we're doing more housing in addition to that's being considered by Danco under that agreement. That was my fundamental question. It sounds like no, housing is not, Mandy, maybe you can answer that because I think it came from you that you said housing. So I'm aware of the minimum needed for the affordable housing. I'm very aware of that. And that's why this additional housing thing that you just said, or that I heard, kind of confused me.
So Lisa, I think you're confusing the issues. So the state requires that anytime a city desires to do any type of development on a city-owned property, whether that's leasing it out for development or selling it for development or developing it themselves, they first have to notice through the surplus lands process that they have a piece of property that could be developed. And they have to notice that to people who are interested in affordable housing. The state is just saying across the board, if you have something that could be developed for recreation space, retail, commercial, it also could be developed for housing, and you have to make that option available and noticed first before you can do anything else. So yes, someone could come forward through this process and say, you know what, we would like to pursue an affordable housing project. You know, through our zoning, there's a lot of restrictions placed on that because the ultimate goal for the city has been to redevelop that space into more of a, you know, a live, work, walkable, recreation centric type of development with some retail commercial. And so the zone was written specifically to get to that point. So it can't just be, you know, a single affordable housing project. It would have to have retail commercial space. So, you know, those options are out there. I don't anticipate that anyone is going to want that property for that reason. But if someone did do this process, the council would have to consider that, and they'd have to consider it in good faith, because that's what the state is saying. We have a housing crisis, but that's not necessarily the city's focus. And it's definitely, I wouldn't say a focus for that property. That property has a lot of value on a commercial retail kind of front versus a housing front. So, you know, we've been looking at options over the years on what could happen on that space. But in order to do anything, first we have to meet the state mandate. And I agree. I think the term surplus is completely erroneous. It doesn't feel good to me either. I don't understand, you know, the thought process when, you know, when you have something of value, it's not surplus. But unfortunately, that's what we're left with. It's not the city making that determination, it's the state. So it is literally a hoop that we have to jump through to be able to come out on the other side and be able to entertain any type of development down there. And yes, the city is actively pursuing development. That's been something we've been working on for years. It's been something that's been told to me as an objective and a goal, is to look for development that could take place in what was our industrial park, our business park, and now the Powers Creek district, to help support the objectives of the city. So that's what we are pursuing.
Okay, you've said that a few times, and again, I hope my letter will come up. And it's not just about this surplus land. That the letter that 14 people signed on to will come up, because I don't know the we that you're talking about. I don't know who these people are, and so again, I have a strong concern about that. But that's a topic that's about that whole area, not just about this particular corporation yard. So I was just not clear on. I understand you first have to put up housing first before you do anything else. And let's say somebody does take this as housing. Then what does that mean for the Danco? Because if we can meet the surplus, that we can meet the housing need. Let's say someone does get let's just throw this out. Someone does acquire the corporation yard, or it's sold, and they want to put housing in there, and it meets the number of units that are provided. What does that mean for the Danco agreement?
Okay, so Lisa, you're getting way, way, way ahead of the game, okay?
No, I'm not. I am trying to get it, pacing it along the way so that you don't sign, documents.
Anything close to anything like that happening would be discussed very completely and openly at a city council meeting.
At another meeting.
Never be done behind doors or in some other way that you think it might. It would be completely open and thoroughly discussed if that happens. And I'm putting a big if, because chances are it's not, first of all. Secondly, the city's really not looking for housing in that particular location. That location is really meant more, as Mandy said, for a retail commercial business, something like a little market with a baked and tackle place or something like that. So you're getting way ahead of things. And when we talk about who we're talking about is your city council, your elected representatives here that are discussing in an open forum how things are to go. And as I wrote you a letter to your letter, that there are many people in this community that feel that the Powers Creek district and the direction that the council is going is a very good direction. That includes John Bartholomew, who is our Humboldt County tax collector. That includes Marvin Samuels, the Chamber of Commerce president. So there are people, not just the 14 people that signed your letter, but there are other people in this community that are saying, we like the direction that you're going in. We have a planning commission that makes a lot of these decisions as well, so it'll come to the planning commission first. We have zoning that restricts what can go in there. Everything is done completely open and above board. So please don't get ahead of yourself by saying, what if this developer comes in?
Well, no, I'm a planner, and the devil is in the details, and the devil is in the details. Excuse me. I hope some of the other council members read the letter, because there is a lack of trust, and there is a sense that you've said this a million times at council meetings, Eileen, and I'm not alone. And so let's just have a forum that everyone can try and be a part of. And that's all I'm going to say on that, because I think I'm on the agenda. I asked for this to be a thing on the agenda. So, okay, so.
Okay, we do have a limit of 3 minutes. The back and forth is
I'm over, yeah.
But we're going to have to put an end to it at this time. At least